Will Tata Sons be Jet Airways' knight in shining armor, or will it prove to be too big a problem for even the Tata Group to turn around? Well, it's still early days, as the Tata Sons board's approval is just the first of the many that will be required for the deal to go through, if at all. But what does it mean for the aviation industry as a whole and for Jet on its own? Let's ask Mark Martin, the founder and CEO at Martin Consulting. Mark, thanks very much for taking on the time. Your initial take on what this brings on the table, aside from money bags, for Jet Airways.
Morning. Thanks for having me today on Bloomberg. I think from a broader perspective, this does have quite a positive effect on the airline business collectively. We will start seeing a more organized, structured airline industry, and that's what Singapore Airlines actually does has done in the past. And so in effect, what Tata gains is about 4 airlines. It's AirAsia, where they have an equity, a strategic investment. They have Vistara, it's Jet Airways, and it's Jet Light, because if you remember, Jet acquired Jet Light in 2006. So, we will bring in a certain amount of organized rationale in the market, and this is also a coming of age for full service airlines that we really haven't seen in a while, at least in India. So this is definitely quite positive, and from an ROI perspective, I don't think Tata is going to look at this as a short-term, 10, 12-year investment. They will be in it for the long haul, and we're looking at 20 to 25 years as a total approximate investment window.
While, everything looks good from both the sides. For Tatas, they get an access to the West because of the routes that Jet caters to alongside Etihad. Jet Airways gets that much needed lifeline, that cash infusion, that's been tripling it so far. But how does it all play out in terms of the aviation industry, competitive environment, the possibility of cannibalization, if at all Jet comes in to be one of the third aviation names in the Tata kitty?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I think what we have to be mindful is that we don't think Etihad would be as part of the deal. It's in our view that Tata and SIA will buy out Etihad and give them a golden handshake at a premium price per share, because I think historically we have seen this. SIA and Tata don't want anyone to have a free ride on their investment. On the flip side, we're looking at Jet obviously having an established global network. We're looking at Singapore with its expertise, and we're obviously looking at what one would call as a airline holding company, which is definitely very, very strategic, at least from an India going global perspective. Jet has an established brand. We have to be clear, and that we got to respect that, because it's not just in a domestic environment, it's also in an international airline footprint, because they do have a tremendous amount of goodwill, especially with sales and market holding. Brussels, Amsterdam, London, Heathrow, New York, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Singapore are all core markets for Jet Airways. So that really adds really well to what SIA's West aspiration has been in the past.
All right. In light of this deal coming about, all these 3 aviation companies under the Tata kitty put together will have a combined market share of roughly closer to about 24%. What does it leave the others with?
Well, I mean, if you really look at it from a in terms of from a pecking order perspective, it will be Air India, Indigo, with Vistara, and we got to be clear, this is a growing Vistara and a fairly sizably mature Jet Airways. So when you merge the two, we're not looking at growth to stop from an airline or fleet perspective. That is going to continue. Vistara will add in the 100 aircraft they talked about. They will go international by bringing in the 777Xs as well as the 787s. Jet already has a 777 fleet, which will obviously be better utilized. And let's not forget, Jet also has an order for 737 MAX. They have an order for 50 aircraft. So I think critical mass in about 24 to 36 months, we're looking at an airline that should have an effective fleet of about 200 plus aircraft, at least in the market today. And with a fairly widespread, broad-based global network, which would be comparable to someone like a Lufthansa or an SIA. So this is more like an SIA in the making.
So net, just before we wind up, you're giving this deal a thumbs up if it happens.
Oh yeah, I think it's if it does happen, it's going to be a great opportunity collectively for the business, and our foreign exchange earnings from the airline business will increase. We'll have a greater forex share, at least on the P&L. But on the flip side, yes, there are risks. I think we all know them: currency and the price of oil. But I think those should be balanced out quite well by the group. So overall, I think I'd like to be positive about this, and I'm sure the markets have been so far. So that's a good indicator.
We'll leave it at that, Mark. Thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate you taking out the time.